If your doorbell rings after midnight and there's no one there, don't assume it was a mistake. Some doors get knocked on for a reason, and some things outside them have been waiting a lot longer than you think. This is a true story. It happened to me when I was 18 years old. And by the time it's over, you'll understand why, 16 years later, I still can't look at a front window the same way. Stay till the end. Because the worst part of this story isn't the woman, it's what my parents told me afterward. I grew up in a quiet neighborhood. The kind of street where nothing ever happened. Where the biggest excitement was a dog getting loose or a storm, knocking out the power for an hour. My parents were protective, overprotective, honestly. I'd never been allowed to stay home alone, not even for a single night. So when they told me they were going out of town for the weekend, I saw my chance. I begged. I promised I'd be responsible. I told them I was 18, not 8. Eventually they agreed, but only on one condition. My best friend Ethan had to stay with me the entire time. I didn't care about the condition. I would have agreed to anything. That Friday, the second their car pulled out of the driveway, it felt like the whole house exhaled. Freedom. 2 full days of no rules, no curfews, nobody telling us to turn the volume down. Ethan showed up an hour later with 2 pizzas and a bag of snacks that probably cost him his entire paycheck. We spent the evening exactly the way you'd expect 2 18-year-olds to spend an empty house. Video games, bad jokes, way too much soda. By 11 o'clock, the living room looked like a small disaster zone. Pizza boxes stacked on the coffee table, cans everywhere, the TV glowing in the dark. It was, without question, the best night of that entire summer. Until it wasn't. At exactly midnight, the doorbell rang. Ethan muted the TV. Neither of us moved for a second. "Are you expecting someone?" he asked. I shook my head. Nobody knew we were home alone. Nobody was supposed to. The bell rang again. Longer this time. Almost like whoever was out there was pressing it harder, more insistent. I got up. My heart was already beating a little faster than it should have been for something as small as a doorbell. I unlocked the front door but left the screen door shut. There was nobody there. The porch light hummed above an empty step. The street beyond was lit by orange street lamps, and it was completely still. No car pulling away, no footsteps, no one walking off into the dark. Just nothing. I stood there for almost a full minute. I closed the door, locked it, and told myself it was a prank. Some neighborhood kid, probably. Ding-dong ditch. Nothing more. But that night, neither of us really slept. Saturday morning came, and with it, sunlight has a way of making everything from the night before feel ridiculous. We laughed about it over breakfast, called ourselves paranoid. Ethan joked that I'd probably imagined the whole thing after too much soda and too many horror games the night before. By the afternoon, we'd almost completely forgotten it happened. Almost. Because at exactly 1:13 in the morning, and I remember that time precisely, because I looked at the clock the second I heard it, the doorbell rang again. My stomach dropped before I even sat up. This wasn't a coincidence. Nobody rings a doorbell by accident twice in 2 nights, at almost the exact same hour. I walked to the door slower this time. Ethan followed a few steps behind me, close enough that I could hear him breathing. I looked through the small window in the door. This time, someone was standing there. She was an elderly woman, small, frail-looking, the kind of frail that makes you want to help her inside out of instinct. Her hair was snow white, tucked under a faded scarf that looked decades old. She wore a long, heavy, dark coat, despite the fact that it was the middle of summer, warm enough that I'd been sweating just walking to the door. And she was smiling. Not the kind of smile you give a stranger to be polite. Not warmth. Not kindness. It was the kind of smile that made the hair on my arms stand up. The kind that made you feel like she knew something about you that you didn't know about yourself. I opened the door, but kept the screen locked between us. She spoke first. Quiet, almost gentle. "Is Mr. Walker home?" I frowned. "I'm sorry, you have the wrong house." She stared at me, just stared. Long enough that it stopped feeling like confusion and started feeling like she was studying me. Then, slowly, she nodded. "Oh, that's right." A pause. "He doesn't live here anymore." I should have closed the door right there. Something in me knew it. But before I could move, she asked another question. "What about Joe?" My skin went cold. "There isn't any Joe here either," I said. She chuckled, soft, almost fond. "Oh yes, there is." Her smile widened. "I can hear him." Every instinct in my body screamed to shut the door, so I did. I didn't say goodnight. I didn't say anything. I just shut it and turned the lock. I could still hear her, laughing softly, on the other side of the wood like the door wasn't even there. Ethan saw my face and immediately knew something was wrong. "What happened?" he asked. I told him everything, word for word. Neither of us said much after that. We just sat in the living room, lights on, TV forgotten, both of us glancing at the door every few minutes. A little while later, I couldn't take the silence anymore. I walked to the window and looked through the curtains. She was standing in the middle of the street. Not walking away, not leaving, just standing there, facing our house. She didn't move for nearly 2 hours. I checked more than once, half expecting her to be gone each time. She never was. Same spot, same posture, same direction, staring directly at our front door like she was waiting for something. By 3 a.m, I'd had enough. Fear had turned into something closer to anger. I decided I was going to march out there and tell her to leave, or I'd call the police myself. I opened the door. The second it swung open, she ran, not walked, not shuffled the way you'd expect from someone her age. She ran fast. Faster than should have been physically possible for a frail, elderly woman in a heavy coat. I slammed the door and locked it, my hands shaking. That's when Ethan whispered from behind me, "Look." I turned toward the living room window. She was already there. That was enough. I grabbed the phone and called the police. By the time they arrived, maybe 15 minutes later, she was gone. No trace, no footprints in the grass, nothing on the porch cameras of the neighbors who had them. The officers searched the block. Nothing. Their best guess was that she was elderly, possibly confused, maybe suffering from dementia, and had wandered off before they arrived. I wanted to believe that, I really did. But it never sat right with me. The next day my parents came home. I told them everything, the doorbell, the woman, the name she'd asked for. I expected them to tell me I'd been dreaming. Their faces changed the moment I said the names. My father sat me down and told me something I'd never heard before. Years before we ever moved into that house, a man named Joe had lived there. He murdered his wife inside those same walls. Then he took his own life. The house sat empty for months afterward. Nobody wanted to buy a place with that kind of history. Eventually, my parents got it for next to nothing, and they never told me why. Then my mother told me something even worse. Before I was born, our family had been stalked. For months, a man had shown up outside our old house late at night. He threatened them, tried to break in more than once. My parents lived in fear of him for the better part of a year before they finally moved. His name was Mr. Walker. The old woman had asked for both of them, by name. It's been 16 years since that weekend. I've never seen her again. But every single time I visit my parents, even now, I find myself glancing at that same front window before I go to bed. Part of me hopes I never see that smile again. And another part of me, the part I don't like admitting to, wonders if she's still out there somewhere. Still walking at night, still asking for people who are long gone, still waiting for someone else to open the door.